Imagine this, it's a few months from now and you've released a handful of digital products that are generating around $1,000 to $2,000 for you every single month. That's nice, but now picture this. With no additional work, overnight, your income doubles. Too good to be true? Well, it's exactly what happened last month to a new Udemy account that I built. And I'm about to show you exactly how to replicate this. So let's start with this. There's 3 ways to approach Udemy as an instructor. The first one is randomly, which is what most instructors do. And now that you're watching this video, you can wave bye to this route. Then there's your second route, which is what I'm going to call Udemy Basic Strategy. And the third and last route is the Udemy Grandmaster route. So before you can become a level 99 Udemy warlord, before you can reap the benefits of all the free wins I'm going to show you, I need to make sure that you understand Udemy Basic Strategy. So let's quickly cover it so we are on the same page. There's 3 steps to this strategy. Number 1, finding profitable course topics. Number 2, creating the courses. And number 3, optimizing your courses to rank highly. All right, so the first step is the most important, and both the basic strategy and the advanced one hinge around this. Udemy is so kind to give us access to a tool that every businessman and businesswoman would kill for. And that's of course Udemy Marketplace Insights. It's a place where we can basically see exactly what people are asking for, what they want and aren't finding enough of, as well as what they don't want and are finding too much of. It's basically the equivalent of setting up a bubble tea store in a mall after the mall has gone and told you that every day they get around 100 people asking for a bubble tea shop. Now, when you use Marketplace Insights, you probably fall under one of these 2 categories. Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. What do I do with all this information? Or, oh, this is so easy. I know how to find a good topic. I can do this any day. Well, I've been on both of these camps and I've been wrong many times about what I thought was important. So after releasing dozens of courses, this is what I've learned are the most important things to look for on the Marketplace Insights tool. The first message that Udemy gives you, you can safely ignore. We don't need to be told to aim for high reviews or have a marketing strategy. And a lot of the time when it says that it's a good opportunity, it's not. Now, these graphs with supply and demand, you can quickly look at to get a sense of what the topic is saying, but we're not going to base our decision around this. That's because instead of just looking at the graphs, we can put actual numbers for each of these for supply and demand. So for demand, we can look at search volume percentile across topics. This compares whatever topic you're looking at with other topics on Udemy. So if the percentile is 99th, it means that it's in the top 1% of most search topics on Udemy. And in my experience, we usually want to keep this number above 70 or so, unless there's like almost no competition and it's like low-hanging fruit. To understand how much supply there is, we can simply scroll down and see the exact number of courses listed under this topic. And this tells you how much competition there is for that given topic. Obviously here, the fewer the better, because you can stand out and win easier. But I'd say you have decent odds of success as long as you keep that number below 30. But really, you should aim for less than 20 or even less than that if you can. Okay, so those are the main things to look at, but let me give you some pro tips while we're here. Conversion rate is the most important thing on Udemy. It's what tells Udemy whether it's worth showing your course at all or not. So if you have a higher conversion rate than your competition, you win. It's that simple. This means that when you're looking at a potential topic to create a course in, you want the existing conversion rate to be as low as possible. This might be counterintuitive, I know, but hear me out. If the keywords show that people are actually searching for this topic, then all the conversion rate is telling you is that people aren't happy with the options that they're finding. So we can come in, do a better job, and rule them all. Now, if you want to get real fancy, you can also look at the volume per channel. This is because optimizing for search is the most reliable way to rank well on Udemy. So if Udemy search and outside sources are high, this is a great sign. Outside sources just means Google for the most part, so it means that overall search traffic is high. Okay, that's a bunch of technical stuff and it might sound like a lot, but it's pretty simple and here it is summarized. You want percentile above 70th, number of courses below 30, but really as low as you can find, conversion below 5%, and search traffic above 50%. And voila! Now you understand the first and most important pillar, the Udemy basic strategy. By the way, I have a free guide with 100 course topics already searched by me in the description. There's no opt-in or anything, you can just have it and enjoy. The second pillar of the basic strategy is creating the course, which really is not very hard at all. The main thing you need to do is come up with an outline, which you can do with ChatGPT, and then go through and record the lessons one by one. If this sounds terrible to you, don't worry. I have a bunch of videos showing you exactly how to do this. I even have some showing you how to have other people do it for you without even paying them up front, and even how to have AI do the entire course for you. All right, we're on to the final step of the Udemy basic strategy, which is how to optimize courses to rank highly. The first step to do this is, of course, finding a good course topic. You've already done this, so you're already way ahead of the hordes of peasant instructors out there. I'm feeling sassy today. I don't know why. Anyway, once you have your course, the most important things to rank highly are conversion and SEO, as we just talked about. And the number one thing to make sure that you have a rockstar conversion rate is to nail the promotional video, the video sales letter. I've played around with all sorts of ideas and approaches to this over the years, but here's the template I now use for every single one of my VSLs or promos. You can find it in the description as well. Again, no opt-in or anything. What I recommend is that you give ChatGPT the outline of your course, then you give it the template that I just gave you, and you have it fill it in for your particular course. Once you have the script, you'll have to record your voice narrating it. Then you have to edit it, and what I find the easiest way to do this is on Canva. You're going to click on create, and you're going to select horizontal video. From there, you can drag and drop videos to the timeline on the bottom. So first thing you'll do is, naturally, you'll add the audio of you narrating the script that you just recorded. But then you want to add some B-roll to your course that is somewhat related to what you're talking about in the video. To do that, you can go to Pexels. They have tons of high quality, copyright-free content. I've been using it for years. It's awesome. And let's say that you want to add enough B-roll so that the shot changes every, let's say, 7 to 10 seconds. Now, to make the B-roll be a little more in the background, we want to add an overlay, which on Canva is like super easy. Just go to Elements, then find the square, add it and drag it to fill the whole screen. Change the square's color to gray, then click on opacity and turn it down to 50 or so. Okay, you're almost done. The last step is to go to your audio, click on dynamic text and add subtitles. And boom, you have a promo that is going to increase your conversion like crazy. Only 2 more things left in this Udemy basic strategy level. By the way, if you want my help to grow your Udemy brand, you can book a free call with me in the description. The next thing is to optimize your course to appear in search results. Yes, some good old passive traffic from search. You can't do this on Google anymore because AI rules them all, but you can still do it on Udemy. So to do this, we're going to go back to Marketplace Insights for our particular topic. We're then going to look at the keywords. And we're going to include whatever the top keywords are as often as possible in our title and subtitle without them sounding like gibberish. For example, for the topic game marketing, the top keywords are game marketing, apps flyer, and mobile game marketing. So we could combine these to make a title like Master Mobile Game Marketing, and apps flyer. It doesn't read amazing, of course, but it's much more important that our course gets found in the first place. And if you're wondering how to come up with titles and subtitles like this, it's basically just like solving a puzzle. And the easiest way to do this is to put it in ChatGPT, put the prompt that I'm gonna give you, and either use what it gives you or combine and mix and match until you get the perfect one. I'll put that long prompt in the description so you can just copy it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. We've arrived to the last step of the Udemy basic strategy. Initial sales. By now, you know that conversion on Udemy is sacred. This makes sense because a high conversion rate is basically telling Udemy that if they show your course to people, people are going to buy it. And if people are going to buy your course, Udemy is going to make money, so they're going to be happy and they're going to show your course more. Now, if we just release our course and let it sit there, it's going to effectively be decided by the first people who land on it, and it's going to be quite random. So if we have 100 people land on it and 50 buy, then your conversion rate is going to be amazing. Your course is going to be shown to a bunch of people. You're probably going to become the best seller, yada, yada, yada. However, if it's shown to 100 people and no one happens to buy it, then Udemy is slowly going to put your course in the back rooms and it's going to sit there alone for eternity, and it gets lonely back there. So we don't want that. So what we do is we make sure to bring some initial sales. I'm not talking about thousands, just 10 or 20 to make sure that our conversion rate gets an initial boost so that it gets shown enough out there. So how do we get these, you ask? Well, the best way is to bring in past students because they're people with high buying intent from the type of courses that you create and from your brand. But since we're in the basic strategy, you might not have any past students, so we'll talk about that later. So the simplest way, if this is your first or one of your first courses or you haven't compiled an audience yet, is to bring in sales from your friends and family. You can give them a best price coupon for just $9.99. You get 100% of the money. None of it will be lost to Udemy. That way, your course will get some initial traction, and that, combined with all the other strategies that we've talked about, will make you win. Congratulations and welcome to the Udemy Grandmaster route. Take a seat. This is where things get interesting. Up until now, I've equipped you with the tools to dominate small niches, to find gaps in the market and be the #1 course in those gaps. If we go back to the beginning of the video, I set you up to create that handful of digital products that in a few months could be making you $1,000 to $2,000 a month or even more. And I've shown you how to do this in very little time. This is great, don't get me wrong, but all of this was setting you up for something bigger. What do I mean? Well, let's think about how most instructors go about Udemy. Most instructors have a common skill, something that a lot of people want to learn, but also something that a lot of people can teach, something like Python or web development. They might even be especially good at this particular skill. So they find out about Udemy, they hear about it, and they think they can make some money and help some people by teaching this particular skill. So they do some research and they find that the majority of the courses are extremely long. So they figure, hey, I better do an extremely long course if I want to compete with all these other courses. Or even worse, they don't do any of the research, they don't make a long course, and they kill their chances of success altogether because they're not even going to stand out or compete with all these other huge courses. Both scenarios lead to the same situation that I've heard a million times. I spent so much time creating my course and it was all for nothing, for peanuts. Now, what's really happening here? Well, if we go back to Udemy Marketplace Insights, we'll see that Python and web development are huge courses. The bestsellers there make multiple 5 figures every single month on autopilot. But the thing is, these are not gaps in the market by any means. You can quickly see that there are hundreds of courses in those topics. The bestsellers are extremely long, they're well produced, and they have world-class instructors. So naturally, if you try to compete there, you'll be not a small fish, you'll be a tiny little fish in a huge ocean. And that's why I taught you the Udemy basic strategy. So you can be a big fish, but in a lot of small ponds. And that way you can spend less time creating courses and have more reliable results. Now, when you combine all of these small ponds, you make an ocean. Okay, maybe the metaphor isn't great, but hear me out. The Udemy Grandmaster strategy is to use the Udemy basic strategy in exactly the same way. We look for good course topics, we create courses in those topics, and then we rank them to optimize highly. However, it doesn't stop there. It's all with a greater plan in mind. A plan to eventually combine all of these courses into one bigger course, which we'll be able to create for 0 extra work. So suddenly we won't be wasting countless hours to create a course that will most likely flop. Instead, we'll create courses, we'll get our money's worth from each and every one of them by generating a passive income every single month that comes in on autopilot. Also, in the process, we'll build an audience that we can market our future courses to. And then, and only then, will we release what I call a lottery ticket. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're a Python expert. Instead of jumping into creating a 40-hour Python course, you can do this. You go to Marketplace Insights and you research Python topics. Following what we talked about, you'll see that Python hacking is a great opportunity. You might also find that Python game development seems pretty decent. Python network programming, and maybe even others. So you slowly create those courses, maybe over a couple weeks, over a couple months, whatever you have time for. But really, with the strategies I teach, it shouldn't take very much time at all. But eventually, the day comes where you decide to combine all of these courses into one glorious Python course. Of course, maybe you choose to add some lessons to make it flow nicely and be coherent, but you won't be creating 40 hours of lessons from scratch or anywhere near that. This is exactly what I did on a new account that I've been working on. I released about 10 courses over a couple months. Then I combined them all into one huge course, and that course outperformed essentially the entirety of the rest of the courses on the account combined. And no, people won't stop buying your other courses just because you now have this bundle. They won't even find out about it for the most part because most traffic comes from search, remember? So what is the difference between the Udemy basic strategy and what I've been flippantly calling the Udemy Grandmaster strategy? Really, the only difference is that when you sit down to decide what your next course is going to be, you take a little bit extra time and you decide what your next 5 to 7 to 10 courses are going to be. And you try to fit them all under the umbrella of the eventual larger course that you're going to release. It's all just planning ahead, like in a game of chess. Sometimes I even plan to have bundles within bundles, which can take a long time to create, but it's awesome because you get a bunch of free courses. So the whole point is to eventually get a lottery ticket with a good chance of ranking highly in a very competitive and saturated niche with zero work and zero risk, which is the most important part. If you want more strategies like this, and trust me, I have plenty more free wins and not so free wins, you can book a free call with me in the description.